Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Business Live. Coming up, President Mahama announces an ambitious target to increase manufacturers' contribution to Ghana's gross domestic product from 10% to 15% by 2030.
Therefore, set a national target. Manufacturing must contribute at least 15% of GDP by the year 2030. Supported by 500,000 new quality industrial jobs.
But how feasible is this? We are live with the Association of Ghana Industries. Also in this bulletin, banks identify bad loan repayment culture for lack of investment in Ghana's transport sector. We have more from the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting. Plus, Atlantic Lithium ends takeover talks as Ewoya lease awaits parliamentary approval. Details of these and more coming your way all in a moment. Please stay. Thanks so much for your company. I am Pius Kojobaka, and looking at our stories, President John Mahama has announced an ambitious target to increase manufacturing's contribution to gross domestic product from 10% to at least 15% by 2030, backed by plans to create 500,000 jobs. Now, addressing business leaders in Accra, the president noted that Ghana's manufacturing sector has remained stagnant for more than 5 decades.
For over 5 decades, Ghana's manufacturing sector has contributed around 10% to GDP. Meanwhile, emerging Asian economies starting from a similar basis have achieved manufacturing share of 20% to 30% of GDP and thereby creating mass employment and export competitiveness. And so we need to change our trajectory. I've therefore set a national target. Manufacturing must contribute at least 15% of GDP by the year 2030. Supported by 500,000 new quality industrial jobs. This will require structural reform and not incremental adjustments.
He also pushed for some dedicated funding and specialized interest rates for manufacturing firms in the country.
While interest rates are falling sharply from the highs of about 38% a few years ago, industrialization cannot take off when interest rates remain around 18 to 20%, and lending tenors are quite short-term. We can resolve these challenges by establishing dedicated financing windows for manufacturing, partner with the Bank of Ghana and development finance institutions, develop special purpose vehicles for SME industrial expansion, expand credit guarantee schemes, and deepen long-term capital markets instruments. Access to affordable patient capital will be treated as a structural reform priority by this government.
Let's now bring in the thoughts of the Association of Ghana Industries. Its Chief Executive, Seth Chumakwaba, joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much, Mr. Kwaba, for making time to join the bulletin. Now, first off, do you think the target of increasing manufacturers or manufacturing's contribution to GDP from 10% to 15% by 2030 is realistic, considering the current challenges facing the sector?
Thank you very much. Yes, it is realistic. We just have to put our hearts to the wheel, and I'm sure we can achieve it. Of course, if you look at it from the fact that for the past so many decades, and His Excellency the President is right, the structure of the Ghanaian economy has virtually remained the same over the years. and the manufacturing contribution around 10, 11% for so many decades. And therefore, if the next few years you are projecting to increase it by, say, 50% more, from 10 to 15%, then it sounds a bit daunting, because if you're looking at the past, we have not achieved that much. But it is very possible if we work around the clock and put in the policies that support manufacturing growth, we can achieve it. And he mentioned a couple of things, and he's so perfectly right on it. And these are issues AGI has always brought up. And if you're able to address them, access to finance, access to long-term capital, medium to long-term capital at a cheaper rate, more competitive rate, improvement in electricity supply, and several other factors that contribute to manufacturing growth. If you're able to sort this out, it is very possible that we can achieve the 15%.
But then again, how can the private sector support the creation of 500,000 jobs the president mentioned, and what skills development programs would be necessary?
Well, scaling up is not that difficult, but scaling up is always driven by demand. So as we have under the 24-hour economy, where the president is projecting that we'll have companies or manufacturing firms working around the clock on 24-hour basis, running 3 shifts. If you're able to do that, you'll be able to create the jobs. But that does not come easily. It requires that we have demand driving the 24-hour economy and pushing people to produce more and create more jobs. Now, if you don't have adequate demand, who will produce and stock and not send to the market? So you really need to create the demand. The demand is created by so many things. One, your price must be competitive, because we have a lot of competition in the system. We have influx of goods coming from various parts of the world. So if you are not producing at a certain level of cost, and therefore your product pricing is not competitive, then you cannot drive demand. So you need to do that. And in doing so, it means that first you have to check the borders to be sure that goods that are coming in are not coming through unapproved borders. They are not maneuvering the import duty system. They are not under invoicing and under declaring. They are paying the right duties, so that it protects the local industry. Secondly, you need to work on the cost factors. So if you have your electricity cost under control, your access to finance under control, raw material-based supply chains are properly developed, and then the skills are also quite developed, because our institutions are developing the right skills for industry. When you put this together, industry should be able to produce at a competitive price, so that demand will be driven, and then on the basis of that, you can run 24 hours and expand and add more industries. Investors are ready to come into the Ghanaian market, no doubt about it. But they will only come if the market conditions are good, if the policies are right. If they do so, we can surely meet the target of creating 500,000 jobs.
And it's good you've mentioned the investment aspect of this discussion. I want to know what more opportunities are there or you foresee arising from this initiative, and how can financing be structured to support the manufacturer? For example, like the president mentioned, there will be some soft loans, etc.
So the kind of financing we've had over the years for the manufacturing sector, it's not the right model of financing. Most industries go to borrow at the banks on short-term basis to do long-term projects. It means that your moratorium is very short. You can borrow several millions, and then within 3 months, you have to start paying. In manufacturing, by the time you finish setting up your machinery, you put up your factory, you acquire the land, you put out the factory, you import the machine. Most of the machines are not produced in Ghana, they are imported. So by the time you bring the machine in, set it up, and be ready to even test, it has taken months to a year or more. So if you have a very short duration of moratorium, that we don't have the kind of financing that is for manufacturing or for development. That's why President mentioned patient capital. It means that when you put in that kind of resource, you should be able to have some patience, allow the industry to go through the process of setting up, testing the market, testing the product, having market acceptance, and then producing to fit the market. That is where you start generating revenue and start paying. And that could take a year or two. So you need to have a long-term capital that is patient enough for manufacturing to work. Unfortunately, we don't have much of that in the system. So what people do in order to survive, they will go and borrow short-term facility. They say, oh, pay in 6 months, moratorium starts It's just about 6 months. So in 6 months, you start paying when you have not actually reached the stage of actually producing to the market. So part of the money you have taken from the bank, some reserve some in the account and use that same money to start paying when it hasn't even matured to the stage of revenue generation. So we need a kind of financing that is medium to long term, and then also coming in at a competitive rate. Even though we've had interest rates coming down as a result of the stability we've had over the past year, it is still not low enough and it's still not competitive enough. You can't borrow at 20% and do big ticket long-term financing arrangements.
Seth Shumakwa, thank you so much for your input at this very moment. I'm glad you could make time to join us. Let's stay longer with in the industry sector, because the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana has confirmed that a total ban on the importation of goods through Ghana's land borders will not have any adverse repercussions on the economy. In an interview with Joy Business, the association's chairman, John Awuni, indicated that a complete prohibition on the entry of the affected products via Ghana's land borders would not disrupt the country's demand and supply dynamics. We shall bring you that story subsequently, but I've got to tell you this. Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, has expressed concerns that clearing at the ports and other services rendered by the Integrated Customs Management Systems, known as ICOMS, will improve efficiency to the trading community. According to her, ICOMS have become critical to the business community, and hence any move to improve services and accuracy will be supported by government. More in this report.
Its system has received the International Standard Organization certificate, marking a major milestone and highlighting the system's ongoing innovations. The certification confirms that all operational processes on the Integrated Customs Management System meet global standards. Speaking to the media after a brief presentation ceremony in Accra, Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, expressed confidence that the center is fully capable of ensuring smooth operations for its partners.
Whether you are importing or exporting, ICOMS is very central. And so if ICOM has presented itself to be tested by a third party in the name of the ISO certification, I think it's a step in the right direction. This kind of gives us confidence that it is going to be more efficient than it has been. And we are also excited that it has migrated to a bigger data center, and this is even going to serve the import and export community better. It's very essential for us because it's kind of a one-stop shop at the harbor to make sure that things are done seamlessly. And so if they improve their service, all the better. And I'm happy that they've gone this far to get an ISO certification for the ICOMS, and we hope that this will bring a lot of efficiency into our export and import space.
Director of Human Resources, Cynthia Addy, speaking on behalf of the Managing Director of Ghana Link, assured that the system is robust and secure, safeguarding all data processes.
Achieving this certification means that an independent international body has scrutinized our processes, our technology, and our people. They have verified that we do not just talk about security, we live it, we audit it, and we improve it daily. This certification confirms what we have been working towards in the past year, that Ghana Link has built a fortress for data processed through ICOMS, which flows through the national trade ecosystem.
Chief Technical Officer Dr. Alvin Kwabna Ansa described the migration to the new Tier 4 data system as seamless.
We constructed a Tier 4 data center engineered for fault tolerance and business continuity, eliminating single points of failure and ensuring operational stability for Ghana's digital trade ecosystem. We executed a seamless migration of critical systems, and I don't know how to say it any better. Critical systems, the migration was something else. My colleague would say a near zero downtime. Okay.
The upgrade strengthens Ghana's digital foundation and supports long-term economic growth.
This is still Business Live. We have more for you after this break. Hello, welcome back to Business Live. Government is stepping up measures to tackle congestion in Ghana's transport sector. The director responsible for planning at the Ministry of Transport, Eric Tete Addison, says congestion remains a major challenge. Speaking in an interview at the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting, he attributed the problem to limited infrastructure and heavy reliance on road transport. More in this report.
Government aims to decongest Ghana's transport sector through mass transit and disciplined financing. The director responsible for policy planning at the Ministry of Transport, Eric Tete Addison, speaking at the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting, says congestion stems from limited infrastructure and inefficient road use. He notes that government is prioritizing higher capacity buses while exploring rail and water transport to reduce reliance on roads.
We are looking at how we can increase the capacity of vehicles that are able to move their people from point A to B. We are planning to get high occupancy vehicles that can take large number of people. When you go and register your vehicle, you have to sign up with a towing company. So when your vehicle is disabled on the road, you only call the towing company to come and tow it for you.
Executive Head of Business and Marketing at Stanbic Bank, Mauku Afajinu, says a $50 million bus financing scheme launched in 2007 collapsed due to widespread fraud, highlighting the need for trust and responsible repayment.
To get the bus, you were supposed to pay 10% of the cost, and each of those buses were $30,000. And the belief was that within 4 years, you'd have finished paying for the bus. It becomes your own. The money comes in, and then we are able to channel that money back into the society and get another set of new buses and give it to you or other people so that over the time, our country would have thousands of new buses financed through a scheme which is self-sustaining, which is revolving, and which is constantly changing our fleet and our country. But because of default, because of dishonesty, because of people taking money and bringing false information and therefore not being able to pay for it, that whole scheme collapsed.
Director of Research, Innovation and Development at the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Enoch F. Sam, adds that practical reforms must consider commuter behavior, street trading, and pedestrian congestion.
Let's clear these people off the road. Give them a befitting place to do business. Right. 2, let's make public transport more efficient. And making them more efficient means try as much as possible to move people en masse. So elsewhere they are talking about, and even our national transport policy talks about using high occupancy vehicles. Right. At best, the trotros could serve as feeder services to the bigger occupancy vehicles, like the Ayalolo system we had, which for some time now is not too efficient. We can revisit it and then make sure that the trotro could come in at the first and last mile so that there wouldn't be sabotage.
Officials say a combination of mass transit, multimodal transport, and financial discipline is essential to ease congestion and improve efficiency.
In some other business news, Atlantic Lithium Limited has withdrawn from takeover negotiation while it awaits for Ghana's parliament to ratify the mining lease for its flagship Ewoya lithium project, placing the country's approval process at the heart of the company's near-term outlook. More in this report.
Update released on the Ghana Stock Exchange. The company disclosed that it had previously received a conditional, non-binding offer to acquire all its insured shares. However, the board has since terminated the exclusivity arrangement and ended discussions, concluding that no agreement would be reached. According to the company, the proposal did not adequately capture the long-term value of the Ewoya project, particularly at the time when the mining lease is under parliamentary consideration. The company considers parliamentary approval of the mining lease a significant de-risking milestone. Parliament resumed sittings on February 3, 2026, and the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources met on Friday 12 to deliberate on the lease. Atlantic Lithium said it has yet to receive formal communication on the timeline or outcome of the ratification process. If approved, The lease would remove a key regulatory hurdle and pave the way for what is projected to become Ghana's first lithium-producing mine, potentially positioning the country within the rapidly expanding global electric vehicle and battery supply chain.
Omnibasic Bank is leveraging its flagship health walk to boost customer engagement and promote national wellness as part of its broader brand strategy. Speaking in an interview, chairperson of the Omnibasic Health Walk Committee, Ichara Ahin Ado Kudo, says the initiative now in its 10th edition has expanded beyond staff to the public, helping grow the bank's customer base while reinforcing its commitment to preventive health.
Of the Omnibasic Health Work Committee, Echa Ahin Adokudwa says the initiative has evolved into a strategic customer engagement platform. Speaking in an interview at the Omnibasic Health Work, she notes that the decision to extend participation beyond staff to the general public is helping the bank deepen brand visibility and grow its client base.
Staff of the bank sits down and get high blood pressure, cholesterol levels are high. So we sat down and we were wondering how we could help to improve the health of Ghanaians. So we came up with this idea and we decided that we wouldn't restrict it to our staff alone, but would extend it to the whole of Ghana. All these people, apart from the staff that you see here, are customers. I mean, if it's not 100%, it's at least 90% of them are customers. And our customer service, as you know, is top-notch. So once you get in here, you join the health work, of course you'll be our customers. We have no problem with that at all, and that has helped to build our customer base.
Administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, Hannah Louisa Bissell-Kote, says the fund's participation goes beyond fitness, describing the event as a valuable platform for institutional networking and potential collaboration with the bank.
We've exercised the body, we've networked, we've met with people, and we've been able to also interact, one-on-one with the bank, the leadership of the bank, to know what are the opportunities that they have, not just for organizations, but also for individuals. Because MDF, we are staff. MDF has staff. So the staff members, what to encourage us to open an account with Omnibasic is very important.
First-time participant and accountant Amanda with VOB Infrastructure Group Limited also praised the smooth organization of the walk, saying the experience has motivated her to prioritize regular fitness going forward.
This is my first time actually. Yeah, I think I'll continue with the fitness. It was quite challenging, but it taught me that I have to do more exercise. So yeah, that's what I'm going to continue with the walking. It was actually organized well. We started on time. During the walk, there was water provided. And it was exciting too with the band. It was encouraged us.
Omnibasic says future editions of the health walk will be expanded to further enhance customer engagement, partnerships, and national wellness.
Let's now go to myjoyonline.com/business for some quick read on the portal. CD recovers modestly on external tailwinds. $1 equals 11 cedis 70 pesos at forex bureaus. Also on that portal, you see renaming of airport will not impose huge costs on state. That's according to the transport minister. More stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks so much for your company. I am Pius Kujubaka.